Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cooking with Big Mark.
Good day, folks. Today we're going to talk about tomatoes everywhere. This is the first day of the fall. Now becomes the annual problem, how to strategically use them all. So today's the tomato. I think one of the things that would be classified tomato as America's greatest gift to Italy. People don't really know, but the tomato originated in South America, not in Europe. And it was cultivated in Mexico City about 500 BC, and with special seeds. And then when Cortez and Columbus came over, they brought it back to Europe. And then, of course, all the Spanish explorers and Portuguese explorers spread it all over the world. You know, one of the more interesting things, when the tomato first was introduced in England, they all thought it was poisonous. And there was all kinds of an uproar over them being poisoned by, I don't know whether because of the colonial America, I think getting back at them somehow, or whatever it was kind of a funny treatment of it. So the nutritious tomato really has a lot of great assets. It's low in calories. It has a lot of vitamins A and C, potassium, and you have that antioxidant lycopene, which is a big thing. Another question comes up with tomatoes: are heirloom tomatoes cracked up to what they're supposed to be? And the answer is basically yes, but it depends upon on the sources where you're buying it. A lot of supermarkets will, the commercial tomato growers will put it out in a, jimmy the back of it somehow to say that it's heirloom, but it might not always be. So I would always go to farmers markets or sort of local stores, and those will be the ones that are the true heirlooms. Heirloom seeds are passed down for years and years, and the big advantage they have is they have not been hybridized, which means commercial growers try and develop traits of long transportation, long shelf life, which usually builds it up to be thick-skinned and tough and hard. So a good heirloom tomato actually has a thin skin, and it has a lot more room, what they call tomato jelly, which is in between the meaty parts of the tomato. But that's where contains all the great flavors. So that's why the heirlooms are important. I think a lot of way people handle tomatoes is, especially doing like a caprese salad, with basil and mozzarella. If you slice tomatoes, slice them and then salt them right away, and then let them sit for 5, 10, 15 minutes. And what it does is it draws out all the moisture, and again enhances the flavor. A lot of people will do that in a colander and then set it in a bowl and be amazed how much liquid will come out. And that liquid, of course, can be used in a vinaigrette, can be used in a soup, can be used in a sauce, or help to soften the bread in a panzella. So I think the other thing I think for storing tomatoes is sort of the next thing. And there's something new to me happened when I was looking this up, that they say that I had always heard that tomatoes never supposed to go in the refrigerator. They're usually supposed to be left out. Well, it turns out that unripe tomatoes are the ones that should be left out. And not only that, they should be stored stem down so that the moisture does not evaporate, and also so it doesn't develop wrinkles.
Interesting.
I can think of how many windowsills I've seen in my lifetime with all the tomatoes lined up on it this time of year with stem up. So then the second part of it, which was interesting, was that ripe tomatoes should be kept in storage. I mean, in the refrigerator, because that will preserve them and keep them going. The only thing, again, is when you go to use them, just to be sure that it comes back to room temperature and all this, so you get the full flavor thing. A good tomato, a good heirloom especially, should be heavy and smelly, is what they say. Now, that doesn't sound like a very much of an advertisement for a good tomato, but by the smelly, what they mean is has sort of a basil-y smell or earthy smell. From farm to table, that's why the farmers markets, are so important. And you don't want to, when you're trying them, don't squeeze them because they have thin skin. If you don't take it, don't want to ruin it for somebody else. Also, if you're doing something that requires a lot of tomatoes, you want to sort of pick them all at the same ripe stage so that the flavors go through it. So those are all the some things about tomatoes that I think are helpful this time of year. People make will have a glut of it, and they make their own tomato paste, which is something that it's very simple to do with just a dehydrating type of thing. Make their own ketchup, especially if kids. Ketchup is really sugar, vinegar, other things that you can make your own. And there are very simple recipes that you can get online. I think with the tomato paste, one of the things I saw them do is they took the tomato paste and they put it in an ice cube tray and froze it. And then when they needed something to enhance a soup or a sauce, they just pop out, a slug of the tomato paste and use it. So those are all the uses. Excuse me, my heavens, there must be tomatoes around. The other thing is the difference between cherry tomatoes and grape tomatoes. And what they talk about really is that of the two, you always want to pick the cherry tomato. It's thinner skin, more flavor. And that's when, and the other thing is not to sneeze at are canned tomatoes. Now, there's some very good high quality canned tomatoes. And one of the advantages potentially of the canned tomato is that the acid and sweetness sort of is consistent in the can, as opposed to it might vary in a group of other kinds of tomatoes. So those are uses of tomatoes. I think one of the best uses this time of year is you get a great tomato is to get a good slug of Iggy's garlic focaccia bread and slather it with some basil mayonnaise and a nice slices of tomato. And I think that makes a great summer treat and a fall treat as well, since that's where we are. And I wouldn't be amiss to maybe throw in a nice slice of sweet onion to help it as well. So that's the story on the tomatoes. Rotten tomato, not rotten, but damaged tomatoes, of course, go into sauces, panzellas, salsas, sauces, so on and so forth. So that's a little bit of the topic tomato, and I hope that you are all successful in using up your tomatoes. And I apologize for the sneeze.
All right, awesome. Since we were sort of dabbling around in Italy today, I thought I would taste something from the south of Italy, a white, and people are a little bit more familiar with your northern Italian whites, but this is a Falanghina. That's the grape. It's from Campania. You think about Italy as a boot, Campania would kind of be the buckle. This is an ancient grape variety that's named after the staking method they used to use for the vines back in the day. They probably still do. So you're getting some salinity, kind of smells like a little candied lemon smell on the nose. Yeah, on the palate, you're getting a certain creaminess. It's very balanced. It's acidic, but not overly so. And kind of getting some Granny Smith apple, more of that, almost that candied lemon quality. And Italy has so many grape varietals. It's really unique in that fact. And it's great fun to sort of flip through them as you would a recipe book, because they all have their own unique flavor profiles and characters. So
yeah, it's the first time I've ever heard candy lemon referred to as a wine taste. I think it's a nice description.
Well, why, thank you. Or also probably a Meyer lemon, somewhere in between. In any case, this has been Cooking with Big Mark. Thank you all for tuning in. And remember, we are on WinCam now.